Hello there. I'm Debra Giordano with Equus Workforce Solutions, and joining me today is Councilwoman Olivia Diaz, who is also the Vice Chair of Workforce Connections Local Elected Officials Consortium out of Southern Nevada. Welcome, Councilwoman.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here joining you today in wonderful Washington, D.C., where the cherry blossoms are in full bloom, so it looks amazing.
They sure are, and I love that you wore a scarf to really commemorate the cherry blossom season. So, Councilwoman, share a little bit about your story and what's inspired you to do this work.
I love being a part of the workforce board back in Southern Nevada because as a young teen, I was able to participate in early workforce, let's just say activities or employment opportunities. I'm one of 6 children, so a family of 8. My father was the only income coming into our family. I was the second oldest of my siblings, and obviously being of the oldest, I had to go to work to help offset, how much it was to maintain us all, to feed us, to clothe us, to keep a roof over our heads. So as soon as there was an opportunity for us to get into the workforce, my father highly encouraged that opportunity, made sure we sought those avenues. And I remember being in the heat of the summer months in Vegas at 14 years of age, delivering mail to different county departments in the downtown area of the city. And you fast forward, and now I'm kind of working in the downtown as a city council member for the city of Las Vegas. I'm a firm believer that the more we empower our youth with these early opportunities in terms of careers or summer jobs, apprenticeships, internships, this all helps first generation college goers or first generation students and their families to aspire and to be mentored by their workforce environment, because also as a teen, I remember a lot of them talking to me about what are your goals moving on from a freshman in high school? What do you see yourself doing long term? And I think that indirect mentorship is invaluable.
I love your why, so thanks for sharing that with us. And I'm so glad to have people like you engaged in the workforce system, because young people are our future. And we're also struggling as a system to really figure out the best way to serve young people and engage young people. So to that end, how do we push the envelope around high quality services and supports for young adults in our communities so that we can achieve greater impact for them and lasting impact?
Deb, it's been challenging years. The pandemic has definitely impacted all of us. I remember living through it and kind of never stopping work because we were local electeds, making sure that we were on the vanguard of caring for our communities, making sure they had access to everything, testing, vaccinations, how to keep our community safe. But I think that what we need to recognize is that it did have an impact on our youth's mental health. Mm-hmm. It had an impact on the quality education they received, because it's not the same to be in a classroom receiving and being supervised by your teacher real time over a screen. Your teacher can't really see what you're learning, what you're doing, or if even you're engaged, right? And so I have a son who's 12 years old. I know how much the COVID slide impacted his those years that sometimes are formative. So we need to kind of meet our youth where they are and embrace that they went through something that was incredibly difficult too, and that they have the ability to grow and improve. And so I just think we need to be patient. We need to provide more opportunities for them to continue to grow as individuals and to figure out what the best path forward for each one of them is. And I think that through apprenticeship programs, through summer employment opportunities, through internships, we can really try to harness this youth that we need in the workforce, because we know that increasingly every sector of our workforce needs every single young man, woman to be part of it. we're hurting for anyone to,
Right.
to step in and take over some very important jobs and responsibilities.
So as you think about that, needing people to step in and help support this really big need in our community and serving young people, do you have thoughts on maybe what might be some new partners outside of kind of the standard workforce system partners? Who do you think we should be talking to and bringing into the system to kind of help us meet the needs of this population?
Well, I'm incredibly proud of our workforce board, where we've engaged as part of our workforce. We have the College of Southern Nevada as a big stakeholder on that board. We have the Superintendent of Public Education K through 12 also on that board to continue to see what we need to be doing and transforming and shifting so that we're reaching our kids younger. One of the things that I'll be doing really soon is we've developed a coloring book with the future jobs in Southern Nevada that we have a high demand for, and I'll be popping into my elementary school with that book, because I think that exposure earlier, younger in age, to get them to start to really think through what job opportunities exist for me,
right.
Where do I see myself potentially, what are things that I like or I dislike, even from the age of 8, 9, 10. It's never too early to kind of start getting our younger generations to start thinking about what do they want to do when they grow up. I'm still thinking about it a lot of days. What do I want to do when I grow up? But another thing that we're also doing is we are creating these workforce connection ambassadors through our counselors.
I love that.
And so we're really creating cohorts of counselors at high need high schools that can then pass on the tools and the information that exist for our communities to take advantage of. And I feel that sometimes we're not knowledgeable about helping our most needy navigate systems. And I love that we're empowering these counselors, teaching them about our Employee NV career hubs so that they know when they run into a student with a lot of need in their family, because teachers are the ones that hear a lot of these needs, right? And so do counselors, and we're just trying to be a really great connector. And I love that we have these counselors now that have this knowledge, know all about our Employee NV Hub, about all the resources available to our at-risk youth, and then we hope that they will channel them our way so that we can make the best situation for each one of them.
I really love the coloring book idea. That's a great innovation. It sounds so simple, but I think, starting just really young to introduce people to what's possible, right, is
Absolutely.
what you're talking about.
Yes, we need more diversity in every single field. I represent an area of Las Vegas that's over 60% Hispanic and increasingly African American as well. And so we need to make sure that all youth from any walk of life at any age sees themselves in careers, especially STEM careers, because that's where the future is accelerating towards.
Right. Well, one thing I love about the Southern Nevada Workforce Connections model is how they are really reaching into the communities. And so I know in your ward, I think they're in the historic West Side school site, right?
Which is my neighbor.
Which is your neighbor. Also,
But East Las Vegas Library
in the
is
East Las
one.
Vegas Library, and I think in City Hall, correct?
That's North Las Vegas.
that's
but
North Las
hopefully to be determined in the future. We have a brand new civic building that the City of Las Vegas is building to get all of our employees on one campus, and that could be a potential area that we grow in as a city.
Right. So one thing that's great about these places, and I know this is very true, particularly in the libraries, is that not only do young people frequent these places, but so do their family members. So have you seen multi-generational impacts in the way that your system is really connecting with local communities? Because sometimes it does take the whole family to get engaged.
Absolutely. I've seen how just being out of the box thinker really helps support our community, and I think that East Las Vegas Library is a gem and a model that a lot of other areas are now trying to replicate, because it's not just a traditional library where you go to check out books or you go to make sure that your child has academic experiences, right? But now we designed it very intentionally to have an area where people can come in and be assisted with anything workforce related. So it doesn't matter if I'm a displaced senior worker whose income is not keeping up with the cost of living, and now I have to get back into working because I just can't keep up with all of the demands and my bills. Or it doesn't matter if I'm a young person who's looking freshly out of high school, looking for their very first job. We now have the Employee Envy Career Hub hosted right out of the library. We also have an area that was intentionally designed to cater to folks who needed classes, ESL classes, adults that are learning English, newly arrived. And so we have that kind of working hand in glove for us. And then obviously we have a very unique and modern library that allows people to do things like podcasts, recording, green screen, and they can even learn how to DJ out of our library. So, I mean, that in itself kind of lends itself. And we've also hosted many a seminar because there is a meeting space as well. And so we've also hosted childcare sessions or for childcare providers and how they can become more sophisticated. There's a lot of people in our community doing the work. They just don't know how to go about it and how to get licensed, how to maybe grow their business. They love the work they're doing, but sometimes they just don't have the know-how of how to get licensed, how to get the economic support under their project, and then eventually grow it to a scale where they have their own early child care center. So we're trying to really meet the community again where they are and trying to grow them as professionals, because we know that that's another area that we need. We need early child care providers in our community, and we've done it in both English and Spanish.
Well, I love everything you're saying because I think it's really important for elected officials to be engaged at that level, because it's not just about training and connecting to an employer. It is the larger issues like early childhood care and just social connectedness. And I've had the great honor of visiting several of the libraries in Southern Nevada, and they really, truly are incredible assets to the whole community. So congratulations. You have a lot to be proud of there.
Thank you.
I'm going to throw you a big question, and you know, in your perfect world, when you think 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, what's your vision for your area? What do you hope that you can, the headline will be, or that you can look back and say, we've accomplished this?
Well, being born and raised in Las Vegas, I'm a big believer in making sure that we're providing the platform and the support for our children to be successful in any endeavor that they want to embark on. And so I think for me it would be seeing that our unemployment rates are low, that we have diversity, equity, and inclusion across the board in many fields that have yet to see that representation. And I just hope that the youth at that point feel empowered and supported to take on whatever endeavor, whatever career path. I remember my high school teacher telling me that I was going to be of a generation that was not going to start a job and stay in that job the rest of their life. And to us at that moment, we're like, what do you mean? Because my father worked for 36 plus years, same place, same space. And for me, for that to be kind of questioned, I was like, oh, but here I am kind of living proof. I was an elementary school teacher before. Now I'm a city council member. Who knows what my next job will become? And so now I know that we need to also tell our youth it's okay to have these transitional periods in which maybe one day I'm an EMT, but then after being an EMT, I want to go on and get my nursing degree. And then after my nursing degree, I maybe want to be a doctor, or maybe I start wanting to do graphic design, but I fall in love with the programmatic end, and then maybe I'm going to be a software developer. So I just hope that our youth understands that things are constantly changing, and that to keep up with that change and that growth, it's okay for us to transform and change to keep up with those times.
Right, it's really about promoting lifelong learning and giving yourself permission to explore. I always thought it was a mistake when I was in school, and the question would be, what do you want to be when you grow up? Because as you said, most of us never thought we'd land where we are today.
Exactly.
And I think a better question for young people is, what would you like to do first? Or what would you like to do next? And so to really respect the fact that for all of us, life is a journey. We don't have to make decisions that carry us for the rest of our life. We just need to take the first step. So thank you for your vision and your commitment, and for joining us here today and representing your ward and your community.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you all today, and let's just continue to make everything great in terms of workforce.
And we're delighted to partner with you on that. Thank you.